Hey guys, it's your favorite rat, back with another video. So, as I was going through 2020 K-pop comebacks, I noticed that a lot of concepts were being recycled or overdone, the most prominent being badass, rebel concepts. I actually really like those kinds of concepts if done in a new and refreshing way, but it got me thinking about different kinds of concepts I'd like to see in upcoming comebacks. Okay, let me get started. I know quite a few groups have gone for this kind of concept before, like G-Idol and ENHYPEN, or even Red Velvet, but I don't think I'll get sick of it. There's just something so thrilling about watching the music video and getting those chills when you see a creepy scene, or when the members suddenly stop singing, and everything goes quiet and all you hear is the eerie instrumental. Honestly, I don't even mind if the song isn't as creepy or scary. If the music video gives me that vibe, then I'm just gonna associate the song as a whole with the concept. Some of my favorites examples of this concept would be Peekaboo by Red Velvet, Can't You See Me by TXT, Full Moon and 24 Hours by Sunmi, and Given Taken by ENHYPEN. I know I talk a lot about ENHYPEN, but I just really loved their debut. I loved the creepy vampire aesthetic they went for. For me, it was the perfect balance between elegant and horror, although I'm not sure if you could call that horror. I saw a comment on one of my other videos that said that they weren't sure how ENHYPEN could continue that vampire concept without it being repetitive. I do agree that it could get boring quickly, but I would at least like to see them keep that eerie, elegant vibe, rather than going for that loud, rebel, boy crush concept which I like, but personally think is overdone. I think that they could take that creepy theme and expand it onto different variations of it, or apply it to already existing concepts, or continue the storyline they had established with Given Taken. So that leads me into my next concept. So there are different tiers, branches, if you will. Fairy tale, myths, mythology, and royalty. First off, I know royalty isn't technically fantasy, but I didn't know how to describe it. Basically, I saw TikToks that were giving idols prince suits and daggers. And I was like, I need to see ENHYPEN in these. Which got me thinking. I would love to see them take the vampire aesthetic from Given Taken and play with different variations of it, or expand the storyline they had established in Given Taken. A lot of theories see the theme of the Given Taken music video as a representation of ENHYPEN's journey of breaking out into the K-pop industry. The boys turning into the vampires equals them debuting and becoming artists. In the future, once they have been in the K-pop game for a while and have grown in popularity, they could make a music video of them being normal vampires as a representation of them being rookies, but evolving into royalty. Wow, I'm really doing all of Big Hit's work for them. OMG, imagine them being vampires while in prince suits and posing in a large castle. Ugh, they would make such ethereal vampire princes. I'm lying on the floor just thinking about it. Sorry, but you cannot tell me that that is a bad idea. Here are the inspo pics I found. On the flip side, if they wanted to do more of a lighter style, they could also do that. Again, here are some inspo pictures. Okay, I don't know if it's just me, but I love fantasy stuff, and fairy tales. Especially fairy tales. I would be so excited to see a twisted fairy tale kind of thing, like a murderous and dark Cinderella or Sleeping Beauty theme. I feel like that could be a really good idea. It would provide a good storyline for music videos, which I feel like we don't see anymore. And again, with the whole royalty thing, it could go both ways. They could keep it lighter and less heavy by being like Disney but keeping it classy. Or they could turn it darker and creepier with a twisted fairy tale with a huge plot twist at the end. If a group did that, I would just cry. This is basically like the previous two, but instead of fairy tales, why not with mythology? Like mermaids or gods and goddesses? I'm thinking like the beginning of More and More vibes, where they're sitting in a pretty garden and wearing elegant dresses. Greek mythology would be such a cool concept. Each member of a group could be a different god or goddess and have a scene from classic Greek mythology they would reenact. I also think doing like traditional Korean mythology would be super cool too. There was this story I read. It was called The Weaver and the Cow's Herdsman. The gist of the story was that the king's daughter and a shepherd fell in love and neglected their duties. The king got so mad that he put them on the opposite sides of the Milky Way, and on the 7th day of the 7th month they can meet. There's a whole festival dedicated towards this, but imagine a music video or song based off this. The beauty and the aesthetic would be off the rails. If a group decided to come back with such a concept, then that's going to be my comeback of the year. And I'm not being dramatic. But there are so many different tales and myths from countries all over the world. The possibilities are endless. I don't really see concepts like this in pop. I know older groups are going for that more mature sound, but not necessarily leaning towards this concept. I'm thinking like Psycho or Cry For Me kind of vibes. I would especially love to see older third-gen groups like Twice head in this direction, which they definitely are with the release of Can't Stop Me and Cry For Me. I also think Blackpink could slay this kind of concept. I feel like Blackpink could use Lovesick Girls as a transition to such a sound. It would also be a refreshing change to their discography, especially since their songs are mainly in the EDM, hip-hop genre. As much as I love Blackpink's music, I would also like to see such a concept from them. Honestly, I am a retro hoe. I absolutely love the vintage sound. To be honest, I don't think you can go wrong with a retro concept. If a group puts out a retro concept, I'm gonna eat that shit up. I mean, some of my favorite comebacks of 2020 are retro inspired, like Mago by G-Friend, Blue Hour by TXT, Dynamite by BTS and more. Something I would like to see is a concept inspired by the early 2000s. A lot of retro comebacks were based on the 80s and 90s and either had that disco or musical, Broadway sound. Some examples being When We Disco by Sunmi and Home Run by 17. I want to see something like old Miley Cyrus, Avril Lavigne inspired, along with the aesthetic of Paris Hilton in the 2000s like the bright pinks, bedazzled flip phones, and low-rise jeans. I'm thinking Girls Just Wanna Have Fun, Britney Spears and Madonna just more modernized. I would sell my left ovary to see this happen. Doing songs based on 2000s chick flicks like Clueless, Mean Girls or Legally Blonde along with other older movies like Breakfast at Tiffany's would also be a power move and make me ascend to the heavens. Another style could be a elegant, retro concept. Kind of like an elegant and composed femme fatale trying to steal precious diamonds and eat the rich. The only example I can think of is that Can't Stop Me and More staged twice performed at SBS and the Home Run MV. I'd also be so down for a roaring 20s type comeback as well. OMG, imagine the flapper dresses. My vintage side is crying. Hold up. Something I would also like to see is something like 90s Love. The song itself and music video isn't all that retro, but the colors and the whole vibe reminds me of the 90s. Or maybe it's because it's literally called 90s Love. Ciao. I'm stupid. But there's just so much groups could do with vintage concepts. I mean, each decade have such distinct fashion and lifestyle and pop culture trends that anything could be done, and not be repetitive. Thanks for watching this video. By the way, if anyone wants to do a collab with me, please hit me up. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you when I see you.